got this under control, sweetie. So, the judgment day, when the processes take place in the body, and we start to move up in the ascension, we start to see what it means about Judgment Day. See, everybody think that Judgment Day means God gonna come up there like the judge in the courtroom, hammer the gavel and give you a sentence, and it don't work like that, or with the gods, or with the ascended masters, or none of that. That's not how Judgment Day works. Somebody had to call Judgment Day. The curses are different, Juanita, but your life path, when you step back and you don't look at your life that you was living, you look at it from a third person perspective. Watch how you lived your life, and everything time something was going good, you did or said something, and then it all went south. Within a couple of weeks, it all goes south real fast. Your curse is whatever it was you did is the manifestation of it. Soon as you, like for instance, some people not allowed to have wealth. You can work and do good, but as soon as you cross a certain dollar barrier, you lose everything you got. You lose everything you got and you can't control it. And this is why a lot of celebrities die poor. Because that's their curse. Some people curse to not be allowed to have wealth. They can have everything in the world, but they can't have money. They can't accumulate wealth. That was a part of mine too. Because I can get the money. That's not hard. Getting money is easy. So once you learn how to ascend to your God self internally, and you know that for some people, ceremonial rites is what they call it, ceremonial magic. Ceremonial rites can accelerate the ascension. And then you know that when you start feeling all this crazy stuff inside, watch the thought. Remember, the thought is the cause of it all. Watch the thought. Let's say, for instance, it's one of your kids who you love dearly, and something say, kill that motherfucker. That's not you. You have to confront that. That's not you telling you to kill your child. That's not you telling you to kill the person that you love that sleep next to you. That's not you. And most of us think because it happens inside our own head that it's our own thought. But we never realized that when we was growing up, we picked that shit up from every foul spirit being around us that was not right. You know? Yeah, Juanita, message me, inbox me on Messenger, and we'll get together and find out what you need. If one feels less of an emotion in the heart for someone, but has surpassed the feeling, is that part of ascension process? First of all, the love energy that radiate through the heart chakra, if it attaches to another person's heart chakra, ain't no breaking that shit. Y'all became soulmates whether you wanted to or not. And normally this is why people are supposed to get married in monogamous marriages, is because they found somebody that they can face the world with, and they don't have the worry of when I go to work, is a plumber in my house. They don't, that don't even cross their mind, you know. But you want to make a connection with a person. I'm gonna tell y'all the biggest and most neglected. Just Jasmine, you can inbox me. We get it. The biggest connection that we make with another person is by seeing the best parts of that person and cultivating that in the other person. So when you look at relationships now, this is what we see. Guy meet a chick, he thinks she hot, she think he hot. Okay, now, at that point, that's pure animal lust. He don't know nothing about her, she don't know nothing about him, so there can be no compatibility other than the physical attraction. That's what you call animal lust. But the conversation takes off, and then they find out they have this many things in common. They make a connection. Where you lost it, Jacqueline? Anytime, Ashley, just inbox me when you're ready, and if I'm not doing nothing, I'll chat with you. Ascension is death of the ego, realizing real eyes all is one. Hey, I just went over that, because I was told by some of my enlightened brethren that I had to let go of the ego. Then I let go of the ego. You know what they told me? You God. Now you got to have an ego. Contradiction. Why is it there? Right? Now think about this. The gods run shit. And they have to feel like they supposed to run shit. They got to feel like they deserve the right to be in the position of power. They got to know it without a doubt. What's the difference in the fucking ego trip? What's the difference in the Messiah complex and an actualized God concept? And you can love someone without any benefit to yourself. That's ascension, but you can never lose the ego. Whew. Y'all coming at me with this one. Y'all coming right and exact. Okay, so the ascension has nothing to do with outside of itself who you can love. The ascension has to do with how well your love can be purified with your purified thoughts. That is when you get to ascension. Because once you purify the thought, there's nothing low vibration left. That's why they call it purification. What's going on, Chris? Then the emotional purification. When you clear the emotions, when you clear that shit up, you clear the emotions up by not feeling negative emotions towards somebody you love, which took me into the relationship thing. Guys, girls meet. It's the attraction first, the chemistry next. But nobody knows what to do next, because what you're going to understand is we are creatures of habit. As creatures of habit, if you meet a new guy, if you're a girl, if you meet a new girl, if you're a guy, you're going to do all of the dumb shit you did that sabotage every relationship you ever had. When you go back and look at all of the dumb shit you did in your past relationships, you got to do it all at the beginning. Both of y'all, not just one of y'all, both of y'all going to do the same dumb shit, but it's not going to work. Because you're on another level now. So when all of that dumb shit don't work, all that foolishness not working now. Now you sitting here with this person and you exhausted all of the ignorance. Ignorance is exhausted at this point, and you looking at this person like, I still love them. I done did the dumb stuff, the ignorant stuff, the foolish stuff, the retarded stuff, the sick stuff, and they still here. They love me too. We got to make this work. Most people gone by now. And that's what when we got rid of the rites of passage, this is how our minds created one for us. In order for us to weed through the weak relationship to find a solid relationship, we learn a series of foolish and ignorant things that run weak people away. They run, if the relationship is beginning off as a weak relationship, what we learn going through relationships teaches us how to get rid of the riffraff. But then there's always one we can't get rid of. They're either still standing there physically, or when we physically leave, they attach to us emotionally and we can't break the attachment. Sometimes that's due to other outside factors like blood rights or agreements made that haven't been correctly severed, contracts, soul contracts like that. But sometimes there's no contract involved. It's just the truth. And that also is a perfect candidate for you to do a ceremonial ascension with another person. And people keep forgetting that we can do that. Women get bitchy. Why do women get bitchy in a relationship? They losing their power and the man is not doing anything to empower her as a woman. That's fine, Jacqueline. Inbox me. As long as a man don't do nothing to empower a female as a woman, a relationship is going to always be rocky. As long as he's chopping her knees off every time she tries. And the same with him. As long as she's bringing him down every time he's trying to move forward and upward, the relationship not going to last. It can't work. Right? So we get to a point in our ascension where we start to see the rules for Judgment Day. Now I'm going to go over young Pharaoh, who I love that brother to death. That brother, he one of the Grail Kings too. I don't even know if he aware of it, but I think he is. You know what, Chris? I'm not gonna deal with the attachment in the Buddha right now. But we're gonna touch on that. So on another video we'll go over some of the teachings of the Buddha and Dalai Lamas of the past, and maybe even some of the other great teachers and what they were really talking about. The attachment that the Buddha talk about is attachment to the negative vibrations, the low vibration things that you attach to, because you got to attach to something anyway. All right, so now we ready to ascend. We ready to move to the next level, but there's a problem. We still got to clean this mess up. You can't go to nobody's house, mess their kitchen up, and just leave. That's rude, dirty, obnoxious. That's just foul. So before we can ascend into the fifth dimension, we have to clean it up. What do I mean by that? We have to show the people a lot of the deception out in the open in real time. So last week I heard young Pharaoh and General Seti called Dr. York out to judgment. Now, it sounds like they offered a debate to Nuwabians. So if you're a Nuwabian or if you know one, y'all need to pay attention. Pharaoh produced a document. It was a herpes test. And this herpes test is what they call in court, they call it a statement of fact. It's a statement of fact because it's medical evidence that has to follow a chain of command in the court system, and following the chain of command, it is presented as a piece of evidence to support the allegations and why they're there. So Pharaoh produced the document, right? That's part one. Now, if the other two parts not met, he's not calling for a judgment day. Second part. The second part is the vexation of the grievance. Now, the vexation of the grievance is supposed to be rude, obnoxious. Who you looking for? Oh, here you go. So, the vexation of the grievance. A classic example. A classic example of vexation of grievance is Tupac. Tupac done everything by the code of righteousness. That's crazy, because some of the stuff he was doing, you would think he was dead wrong. But the vexation of the grievances is the most critical part of the equation. So they went through a series of vexations of the Catholic Church being condemned for pedophilia, black people concealing in their families and in their communities the same shit that the Catholic Church doing. And before we can go deal with Francis and his pedophile priests, that we have to first clean our own communities up. That was the grievance vexed by young Pharaoh, followed by Seti putting the final call for judgment on Dr. York. And that being to say that they represent the ancestors. At that point, I can't, even if I'm a Nuwabian, I can't defend or condemn York. I have to listen to the facts. Because when the facts is presented, it's a couple things that has to take place. The public, the more I see if it's a valid or invalid judgment on York, the more I see it, the more powerful it be. So the judgment that's taking place with York is critical for his liberation if you're a Nuwabian. And I see you, Christ. So SETI said, this is real. I'm standing here for my ancestors. At that point, Judgment Day. The third prong of calling for judgment has been met. I don't care if the Nuwabians defend him or not. They should if they think he's innocent. And if he turns out, we have to use the judicial. Is made the shit out of Austria. Remember that. Now, Austria is a key city in Europe. In all of European history, it's one of the least understood by an outsider how important Austria is to Europe, right? And its adjacent country is Hungary. Now look, I'm showing you the map. Now this is Austria. Look at their map. See, red and white stripes. Look at the map. That's going to come back in a minute, because when we get back to America, you're going to understand red and white stripes. If we go to images, and they show you where it's at. Okay, so it's south of the Czech Republic, right? South, look like southwest of Germany. This would have been old Roman Empire, right? This would have been a stronghold for what we call Etruscan Moors, because this is the main areas of settlement and conquest of the Roman Empire, as you see Italy right there. Italy, right? And Italy is the boot, and the boot is kicking the ball, and the ball is Sicily. Sicily is the home of the Cosa Nostra, right? And over here we call the Cosa Nostra La Mafia, or the Mafia, which means the family, right? So now, when you start moving north, you see here's Poland, right? And Poland is the land of the pole star. What's the pole star? The pole star is Polaris. And you'll see Polaris is right here at the end of the Dipper, right? This is also one of the easiest stars to find because of the pattern of the Big Dipper. But Polaris is also known as the North Star, right? Now they say the North Star was guiding us in the direction to show the three Magi where to find the boy king, right? But it's really the drummer boy is trying to alert the people of the three kings, but they turned it backwards, right? So now, remember they said that Tawaret was from Sirius. Did you say Sirius? Doggone from... No, not Sirius. Not Sirius. It was from... I'm getting absent-minded right now because I'm trying to get this point across. But anyway, the stars is the map, right? It's the blueprint. So when you understand that the stars is the blueprint, it changes the dynamic. Now, the age of Tawaret, he said approximately 25,000 years ago, right? So this is long before your Jesus story was ever put to paper, right? Which we're going to go to in a minute. All right. So now, while the little drummer boy is using a pole star or Polaris to find the three kings, and he's trying to alert the people of the presence of the three kings. They call him Chicken Little. Run around like his head chopped off. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. All this shit connected, right? The sky, right? Hold on, let me go back. Okay, so when they say the sky is falling, that's typically the description for a meteor shower. To focus on the skin.
Right.
Crystalline, you more internal based. You looking at everything from the inside out, not the outside in. And now you can see with your spiritual eye, or what they call your crystal eyes, your Ujek and Uraeus, with your higher wisdom and your controlled lower nature. Right? They always tell us about the cobra on the crown, but they never tell us about the vulture. Right? Your lower nature. The vulture is the lower nature that you conquered. And the cobra is your higher nature that you've mastered. It's two different struggles going on in the individual. And W.B. Bush wrote about it. He called it the warring soul. Right. The part of the self that want to go along with society at large, and the part of the self that want to truly express itself from its purest source. Right. So you're talking your spiritual self versus your ego self. Your ego is the sum total of everything that you've ever been told about yourself that may or may not be true, but you accepted it as so, because that defined who you was from the external world's perspective. So you're trying to live your life fitting into the perspective of everything you agreed to in your ego, and you haven't even tested it to see if it's compatible with who you are.
Very interesting. Let's go through a couple of historical terms, Rod. We're talking about melanin. We're talking about race. And once again, family, if you're just joining us, there was a Senate hearing with RFK. I advise y'all to go see what's going on. Very interesting things have been happening since Trump has been president. I cannot lie. He's really shaking things up. Some people don't like it. Some people do like it. But things are being shaken up. That's one thing we all could agree on, whether you like it or not like what's going on.
You remember I told you as soon as you take office, everything gonna speed up.
Yeah, you did say that. Indeed. Let's go through a couple of historical terms to try to figure out who we are, where we come from, and how we got here, Rod. Let's talk, and this is a term me and you talk about on the phone. We haven't talked about on the internet, Neanderthals. Now, that was a term, a lot of brothers use that term to insult
the pale-faced